Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Good morning. We'll get started in a couple of minutes. We'll just give folks a couple more minutes to join us.
She ain't ready yet. Perfect. You ain't gotta be ready. I'm ready. You ain't got to find something to put between my.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am Marcia Murray, the Deputy Chief Operating Officer with the Office of Commissioner Rodney Ellis. On behalf of Commissioner Ellis, we appreciate you taking the time to join us for our Get Certified, Get Connected workshop, focusing on private and federal certifications. Today's workshop is part of Precinct One's Equity and Enterprise Initiative, which focuses on ensuring that small minority-owned and women-owned businesses have meaningful access to opportunities to compete, grow, and succeed in doing business with Harris County and our broader marketplace. One of the ways businesses can strengthen their competitiveness is through business certification. So I know that you've all been paying attention, hopefully, and heard, but really, despite the ongoing legal challenges to supplier diversity programs nationwide, certifications remain valuable to your business. So today's workshop is designed to help you better understand how certification works and how it can support your business growth. We recognize that you may each be at different stages in your business journey. Some of you may already be certified, others may be considering certification for the first time, and some may simply be exploring whether certification is the right step for your business. Wherever you are in that process, today's goal is to provide information, clarity, and practical next steps. So throughout the presentation today, we will ask as it relates to questions that you submit your questions through the Teams chat. Our team here at the Office of Commissioner Rodney Ellis will be monitoring the chat, and your questions will be answered after each speaker. We'll also provide an opportunity at the end of all presentations if you have any final questions that you would like to have, questions or comments that you'd like to be addressed. So today we've invited two organizations that play an important role in this space. to walk you through their program, certification process, and provide practical guidance. First, we'll hear from Brandon Davis. He's a director of MBE Services with the Houston Minority Supplier Development Council, commonly known as HMSDC. HMSDC, in partnership with the National Minority Supplier Development Council, facilitates minority business enterprise certification, which is widely recognized by corporations, government entities, and major institutions across the country. So at this time, let's welcome Brandon Davis.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that introduction and everything that is going on in the precinct under Commissioner Rodney Ellis. Equity and Enterprise is an amazing initiative that we are so happy to partner directly with. So my name is Brandon Davis. I am the director of MBE Services for the Houston Minority Supplier Development Council. And so I oversee our certifications team and also our business development team, where we work to be able to help build minority businesses and small businesses as well, to the point that they can be eligible, ready, willing, and able to participate in government and private sector procurements. So one of the things that I always wanted to start off is understanding the mission of what we're here to do. So HMSDC is we involve our members in efforts that will increase and expand business opportunities and business growth for MBEs and to drive excellence in supplier diversity and supplier development. So essentially what that means is that our organization essentially works on two halves. One half is we work directly with the minority and local businesses in our regional territory, which I'll get a little bit more into as the presentation goes on, what I mean by that. And so we help to scale those businesses by looking at different pain points and opportunities of growth, while also certifying and providing our corporate members with vendors that have the ability to participate on those awards that they are looking to be able to solicit from the community. And on the corporate side, our organization works directly with chief procurement officers, work with supplier diversity professionals within organizations to help and ensure that all of the procurements that they're putting out is written in a way that does not become a barrier of entry, and also strategic ways to include those businesses that are available in the supply pool into their procurements. So a couple of things that we're going to talk about is the history of supplier diversity, race and gender neutral programs or race and gender conscious programs, the level of these programs, leveraging your certification, and a little bit of the requirements of MBE certification. So we always want to start with level setting of how we got here today. One of the most important things that a business like yourself needs to understand is where has the ecosystem have rose to this point so that you can take advantage. So certification does not just become a piece of paper that you do not leverage, but it becomes a tool that actively helps build your company. So really quickly, right, we want to know about the history of supplier diversity. So supplier diversity is essentially a continuation of the civil rights movement of the 60s. So during that time, during that movement, when you hear SNCC and you hear Martin Luther King, one of the things that you really think about is civil rights. You look up the fight to become consumers and utilize their money as far as their money could go. But after the death of Martin Luther King, it really raised the issue of economic disparity of all minority-owned enterprises. And so Nixon reached out to corporate America to give a path for those MBEs for economic engagement. So the business problem was the government makes money off taxes, and that's how it funds the operations to build those communities. But those tax bases are coming from homeowners, coming from business owners. And when those tax pools are just not large enough because there's not enough people in that ecosystem, then that causes less money for schools, less money to be able to put into the community to help protect the community. And so the executive order of 11625 and 11458 end up paving the way for what was called the Nixon Minority Business Enterprise Program to be able to help access to SBA funding to kind of build those companies. So corporate America was 100% on board because their main clients are the government. And if the government looks at this as a priority, then they will as well. However, in 69, there was no businesses that was large enough that had the capacity to have a meaningful impact and percentage as with all of the money that they were generating for the government. So out of that executive order and that program, the original funding for NMSDC and MBDA came out of that. So HMSDC is one of the regional affiliates of the National Minority Supplier Development Council, and the overall competencies is still true. And that is to certify minority-owned businesses and promote the value of these certifications, is to develop the stakeholders and build the capacity and the capabilities to advocate for minority vendors and promote the value proposition in the supplier development, and overall connection. People do business with people that they know, trust, and respect. So it's to connect those minority-owned business enterprises with corporate members, and also connect MBEs with other MBEs for teaming agreements, partnerships, and overall growing that base of the capabilities that an individual can do. So when we think about certifications, one of the things, once you start really kind of like paying attention to all of the things that's available, you hear the SBE, WBE, all of these other different things, right? But what I really want to kind of give an emphasis is that it's really a tale of two programs. And that's the race and gender neutral program and race and gender conscious programs. So understanding how those programs work is very vital into your marketing and how you are courting vendors. Race and gender neutral programs is based solely on economics of scale. So it's the size of the company, it's the leverageability of the dollar of that company. So if a supplier has a budget where they can go directly to a manufacturer, and let's give a case study of a company is looking to make cups. The primary good on this cup is the plastic. And let's just say that this comes in a sheet. If they go to a manufacturer that makes sheets of paper and they have the ability to purchase 1,000 sheets, that manufacturer is going to give a specific price. Now that company could then take those sheets, run it through a machine, and make this cup. Now, what happens when a company goes to that same manufacturer, instead of buying 1,000, they want 800,000? Well, that price that manufacturer is going to give that company is going to be a different price than a company that is only available to only buy 1,000 sheets. So that's an economic of scale problem. That is not a race and gender issue. That is solely based on a leverageability of the dollar. So race and gender neutral programs is really put together in order to promote full and open competition to allow these small businesses to compete for the dollars that's spent in those communities. And this is where you start getting those differences between them goals and the set-asides. And so a lot of those programs are really known as so SBE certification. One of the SBE certifying partners that we have in our ecosystem currently right now will be Metro. If you look at a lot of their purchases or procurements online, a lot of them have a hard goal of 35% that allows for small businesses to compete directly. Now, race and gender conscious programs is where you start getting all of the acronyms, right? This is where we start getting the SBEs, the MBEs, and all of these different things. The reason why is because in order to have what is classified as a legally defensible program, it is subjected to what is called strict scrutiny. This is a court case in 1989 by Croson versus the city of Richmond that argue that just because you have a majority minority city does not mean the majority of those minorities have businesses that have the ability to perform on those goals. Because of that, each organization is forced to do what is called a disparity study that looks to see if there is any type of statistical significant disparity. And then you have to find if there are diverse firms that are willing and able to provide the goods and services. You have to show that those full and open competition measures were already deployed. And those goals should be narrowly tailored in good faith efforts. As you can see, some of these different events that are happening in the ecosystem, a lot of those fall into those good faith efforts to ensure that minorities have the ability, have the visibility, and that can see what's available. And also you'll hear a lot of companies, a lot of governments and organizations always push the value of certifications, because in order to establish a goal, you have to first make sure that diverse firms are willing and able to provide those goods and services. And so this is one of the important reasons why a lot of organizations is always saying, go get certified, in order to have that pool to establish any type of goals. Last thing I want to kind of go over is kind of like the levels. One of the things that we see a lot in our industry is a company that would say, I have an MBE certification, but why do I need another one? One of the things is that certifications are really driven by the funding source. And so you have essentially 3 levels currently right now in our ecosystem, which is the local city certs, the federal certifications, and the private sector certifications. These certifications are not necessarily interchangeable. They're really driven by the funding source itself. However, a lot of these organizations do have contracts or MOAs with other organizations that allows a certification from a different level or place or bucket of funds to be accepted, like Harris County accepts HMSDC's certification directly, and also the city. But when you're looking and doing your market research, it's very important for you to understand what is funding that market. Is this a federal market? Is this a local market? Or is this private sector driven? So as you can see that HMSDC really kind of like runs the gambit of corporate members from organizations in oil and gas like ConocoPhillips, Shell, energy sector, even governments, as you can see, Harris County, the city of Houston. So when you're looking for any type of kind of not so much as a help up, but you're looking to be able to insert yourself in any ecosystem, HMSDC is a really valued partner, simply because we've been in the industry here in Houston for a little over 52 years. And so during that case, a lot of our organizations are really leaning toward our expertise to help build out those supply chains. So a little bit about MBE certification itself. So MBE certification is really just a detailed process that qualifies a for-profit business to be at least 51% owned, managed, and controlled by a U.S. citizen and meet the criteria based on us. Well, we will be the certifying entity, or any other certifying entity for that matter. So our certification criteria does not restrict size, nor does it restrict the length of time that you've been in business. If you were in business and you started your company 2 weeks ago, you are eligible to be certified. The only thing that we do look for is that we ensure that the business is an independent for-profit business. We make sure that the owners themselves has the functional expertise in the mission of the business, and that we also verify that that business is owned by African American, Hispanic, Native American, Asian, Indian, or Asian Pacific American citizen as well. So we go through that process and you provide the documentation to be able to prove that you are the person that is actually running the company. No, you're going to hear a lot about certifications. We have workshops. It's workshops all around, and the required documents for any type of certifying body like us is pretty, once you understand how to prove your business, it's pretty simple. But what we need to understand that even when you're certified, right, there is so much more, all right, than just getting the certification. So a couple of benefits about HMSDC specifically is that the access of business opportunities just opens up. Simply because we have the direct connection with with those corporate that you've seen on a previous slide, where we sit there in the procurement planning phase to be able to understand what would be the pipeline to allow companies to be able to compete. We also have a lot of programs that's facilitated by those corporate members as well, from mentor protege programs that brings a large prime contractor and help build up subcontracting capabilities, and other different cohorts like Turner Construction has a school of construction. We have quite a few of our corporate members that have these programs that fill up their seats with a lot of our certified vendors. Also, HMSDC specifically has tons of developmental programs, which we'll kind of go over a little bit. Financial and technical assistance with support of the National Council, which is a really big thing because as we are just one of the 23 affiliates across the nation, we partner across borders a lot to help those businesses build their capacity up to not only just in the Houston area, but also do work in Florida, do work in New Orleans, do work in California. So there's a lot of programs that we co-collaborate with all across the nation. Networking and opportunities is huge because people won't do business with you if they don't know who you are. And so a lot of times we provide that visibility even with two MBE companies working together, but really focus also on the MBE, the corporate mixers, relationships, matchmaking, and those things. And I think that the biggest thing, especially right now in this ecosystem, is the advocacy. So we're always advocating in different rooms to ensure that your name is being spoken, even in a room that you're not currently in. So a couple about our developmental programs that we have runs everywhere between CEO conversations, where we meet quarterly with senior execs from major corporations to help develop the leadership skills of MBEs. We have a program called Total Business Development, where it allows companies that have professional services, and we identify a strategic need for our current pool to be able to provide those technical expertise to help sharpen the vendors that we already do have. And one more I'll go over is MBE Leadership Academy, which is really a comprehensive tool that helps companies develop those essential skills for emerging MBEs that we classify as vendors under 10 million, to be able to understand how to be able to develop a growth plan, how to be able to get into these supply chains, and even more importantly, who do I speak to, how do I speak to, and where do I find the information? Now, one thing I quickly want to go over is that as of October 13th, the regional council no longer processes these certs now directly. We have relinquished that responsibility over to the National Council. However, we are still here to be able to help facilitate that process itself. We are also here to be able to serve and develop those companies. So it allows us to focus even more on the partnerships, on the advocacy, on the development of all of our companies, instead of just focusing on the administrative burden of processing certifications. But because we've been in the ecosystem for so long, we literally have all the information that is needed to make that process even faster than it was before. So what this means is that with this system now, there is a centralized system that allows the real visibility to all of our corporate members across the entire network, all over the nation. And it has improved data quality and national exposure. So now that once you're certified in a system like HMSDC, not only you have the access to our regional partners like Harris County, like the city, like the port, like all of our other corporates that you've seen on the list, you also have search capabilities to see other companies that are in your same ecosystem, that are in your same next code or in your same industry all across the nation. Contact information, reach out to be able to see, how can I do work in Dallas? How can I do work in New Orleans? What is the best person in contact that I can get into. And also, one of the things that we know is that every major city or economic hub has its own kind of nexus of what business opportunities. For an example, Houston is really huge in energy and oil and gas. And so a lot of companies that are in other places have the ability to kind of utilize this system to be able to figure out how to get into Houston's ecosystem. And the same way for our vendors to be able to tap into other industries and capable industries. So you're not losing HMSDC, you're gaining a national platform with local champions that's really still behind you. Now, to kind of go back over into the certification process, it's pretty straightforward. There's a certification application and where document uploads and payment. And we'll go to that on the next screen. Once you fill out that application, there is a desk audit that basically verifies that you are the true owner of the company, that you are actively pursuing contracts, what you're pursuing those contracts in, and what is your background and your expertise in that industry. They're still going to do a site visit interview, which gains a lot of information for us, especially once we really work to develop your companies. We utilize that information to understand what path to be able to take. And then once you're finished with that, there is a interchange, which is an onboarding session directly with HMSDC to figure out what corporate partners are we looking to be able to go after now. What MBE do we probably want to introduce you to be able to connect with to scale that capacity? What technical resources that you may need in order to get to that next step? And then there's a regional onboarding profile once you complete. So when we talk about pricing structure for HMSDC, it's very straightforward. We do things in what is called a class basis. This kind of helps us, especially when we're looking to be able to get MBEs into corporate supply chains. So we certify you as class 1 through 4, and it's all driven by the revenue. So vendors that are doing under $1 million will be a class 1. Now we do have a cost on that one, which is $400. Vendors from 1 million to 9.99, it'll be $650. Vendors from 10 million up to 49.9 will be $1050. And 50 million and up is $1,400. And so with that kind of not only we don't really charge for certification, but it's all of the other different things and benefits that kind of comes with the developmental courses and all the other different programs that we have that you have access to be able to do. Something simply, it's that you will go over to the NMSDC homepage, which I have a QR code link to only on the get started, and then you would select and you select the type of MBE. Now on a national level, we do have minority controlled companies or minority controlled publicly held companies as well, simply because we have some very large vendors that are publicly traded as well. But most of the people on this call will be looking at the MBE certification directly. And you would just get started there and you will see your regional affiliate, which is HMSDC, when you put in your zip code on the beginning of that application. After that, there is just a pre-qualifications form in order to be able to get your credentials, which you just outline the address, your name, the business, the type of business that you have. And so from then on, of course, we have pre-certification workshops once every month that allows us to really dive in even deeper. And then once you get started, we'll also have some boilerplate documents or templates for you to be able to see anything that you may be confused on when it comes to being certified. So without further ado, I just want to kind of open it up for questions. I think I seen one that came through the chat.
Brandon, can we also just show your next slide while you're answering questions so that the QR code can be up for folks? Yes, that'd be great. It looks like we have a question from Patricia Francis. As a new business owner, would the annual basis be on the lower end? Well, I guess the annual cost be on the lower end. I guess lower end of the scale. I would imagine that's about pricing.
Yes. So yeah. So if you're a business that started, what we're looking at is we're looking directly off your tax returns, and so if your business has started within a year, then and you have not filed, then your revenue will be zero. And so if your revenue was zero, you will be classified as a class one because that revenue goes from 0 to 1 million. It is not until you go over that million or over the next kind of tier when those prices start increasing.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions for Brandon? I'm not seeing T. I'm not seeing any other questions.
No others.
Okay.
All right.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Brandon.
I was going to say, so just want to let you know. Okay, so I see one other one. What is the regular process timing? So currently right now, because we switched over to NMSDC, our process timing is around 30 days right now. So we're trying to get it even lower, simply because centralizing it, the goal is to be able to get certifications completed in as little as 2 weeks. So we're not there yet. Okay, so is there a fee? Yes, so let me go back. So the fees that are associated with certification is directly representative of the revenue. So if you're 0 to 1 million, that fee is 400. 1 million to 10 is 650. 10 to 50, 1050, and 50 million up is 1400.
And that fee is not just certification, it's all the service,
Yeah,
it's a lot of the services that you described, right?
correct. So that fee is we're normally saying like we're not charging for the certification. It's more so for all of the different services, the advocacy, the connections, the matchmaking, and the mixers, and all of those other different things that we're doing.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions? Okay, Brandon, did you want to cover this last slide?
Yeah, so I think I see two more that just came in. One of the things that I have just put in my hi hello for direct connection with me. Everyone that is on our call, I want to invite you not only to our annual meeting, which is going to be on April 16th, where we kind of lay down everything that's happening in our ecosystem, our service delivery model that we're rolling out for the next couple of years, and then also focusing on letting you know what we also did last year. But MBE Leadership Academy, I will be opening up seats for anyone that is on this call. You don't have to be certified at this point in order to join it, but I do want you kind of scan the QR code so I can have your information. And then my Calendarly is there as well, which will allow you to set up a 15 to 30 minute with me or someone on my staff. And then we can give you a full conclusive list on everything that we are doing within the next 30 days.
Okay, so do we have from Patricia, I saw the slide with the various business sector. My business is management consulting. What's the general type of contracts? I guess what kind of contracts could be pursued?
So management consulting, so it really depends, right? So that's kind of a broad field. So a lot of the management consulting fields can be anything from companies that are looking for a speaker to come in and identify a good way of leadership development with their staff, or it could be something as far as figuring out what's the best way to solicit a specific service. It just really depends on that. But if we look at what government contracting or just procurement in itself is just the act of an organization finding external resources in order to complete their mission. So regardless of whatever it is, there are going to be spending money externally. So meaning that they're going to be procuring services for that.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Brandon. I really love the historical context that you provided and really explaining how funding sources are really the drivers behind which certifications are accepted. Really, really wonderful information, and really thank you again for that information. So next we will move on to, now we'll hear from Ida Benson, Business Opportunity Specialist with the U.S. Small Business Administration, the SBA. She'll discuss the 8A Business Development Program, which is a federal program designed to support growth and development of small disadvantaged businesses. Ida? Ida, you are muted if you're talking.
Okay. Good morning. Thank you. Can you see my screen?
We can,
Or
but we're
am I in
seeing all
present?
of we're seeing all of your slides, so you probably need to go into presentation
I need
mode
to.
so we can just see the first one.
Okay, just give me one moment. I'm trying to get it together here. My apologies. I'm having a little technical difficulties here, but let me see.
And if you need us to drive, we can.
If you need to share, I can. There you go.
Okay. I think I have it now. Okay.
Okay,
Okay. So you can't see the presentation screen, correct?
we can see. Yes, we see the very
Okay.
first slide.
Okay, perfect. Good
Thank you.
morning, everyone. Thank you. My name is Ida Benson. I'm a business opportunity specialist with the Houston District Small Business Administration Office. And today I'm going to be covering in the information pretty much of how you get started with selling to the federal government. And I'm also going to cover the 8A certification program as well. So the Houston District Office covers 32 counties in and around the Houston area. Um, we have 7 employees to cover this 32 areas. So primarily we use a lot of our resource partners to assist us with getting that information out. I will say that Houston has a great resource partners in this community. And so anything that you need as a small business owner, very likely one of these resource partners can help you with that information. They provide assistance completely free of charge. So if you need assistance, I would strongly suggest that you contact one of the resource partners if you have questions, if you're trying to get your business started, grow your business, looking for lending. I would strongly suggest that you reach out to these resource partners. So why would you actually want to sell to the federal government? We are actually the world's largest buyer of goods and services. We purchase over $7 billion annually, and our small business contracting goal is 23% of all federal dollars going to the small business community. The past 8+ years, we have met this goal or exceeded it. So this is a great way to grow your business selling to the federal government. In addition to that, we have other local government agencies, such as the commissioner's office, that actually take our certification as well. So there are other uses outside of just selling to the federal government. So we have a 23% goal. Inside of that 23% goal, 5% goes into women-owned small businesses. Another 5% goes into small disadvantaged businesses, which would include our 8A certification program. 3% goes into HubZone certified businesses, and then 5% goes into service disabled veteran-owned small businesses as well. So some of the benefits. So we have set aside opportunities. Normally, any micro purchase that is up to $10,000 is automatically assumed it will go into the small business community. Unless there is some reason why the contracting officer cannot find a small business to make this purchase from, normally anything up to $10,000 automatically is assumed to go into the small business community. Next, we have our simplified acquisitions. Simplified acquisitions, to the greatest extent possible, also flow into the small business community as well. And then we have total small business set aside. This would be competitive opportunities, but you will be competing against other small businesses. You would not be competing against the open market. So you would only be competing against other small businesses in your same industry. Then we also have our mentor protege program. So this program is available to all small businesses. And basically, this means that you as a protege will go out and find your mentor, and they would assist you in whatever areas your company needs assistance with to actually grow your small business. This program is not a contracting program. It is a business development program, meaning that your mentor, um, the objective is your mentor to help you grow your business. Whether you need assistance learning how to put proposals together, you need financial assistance, you need bonding assistance, whatever that looks like for your company, that is the agreement between the mentor and the protege. This is something that the SBA does review and approve as part of one of our programs. So there are goals that are set aside in this program that you should be meeting, and it's monitored annually to make sure that the mentor and the protege, everything is going along with the relationship, and also the mentor is meeting your agreed upon goals for the business development of your small business. Next, we have our joint venture program. Now, this is a contracting program. A joint venture is a new company that you would create because with the federal government, we do not recognize any type of um, teaming agreements. We don't recognize those. If you want to do some type of agreement similar to a Creman agreement, it would be the joint venture program. This is a new company that you will be forming. You can form a joint venture with either your mentor, or you can create a joint venture with another small business, meaning that two small businesses could come together in areas that one of you may be weak in, the other one is strong, and vice versa. And you could create this joint venture to go after larger opportunities that normally you would not be able to go after on your own. So you want to make sure that whoever you joint venture with, that you actually know that person, you know how that person operates, you know the values that they have for their company, because you want to make sure that it's a good match between the two of you all when you go after a contracting opportunity. We also have something called Empower to Grow. It was formerly called the 7J training program. But this training is directed towards small businesses who want to do federal contracting specifically. Um, it is a little bit different based on regional. So I don't know if normally we have people who are outside of the Houston area, but Empower to Grow for the Houston area, it is the company that does it. I can't remember the name right now, but you can sign up with them. It's free of charge. They have a board inside where you can post messages to other small businesses and communicate within the small business community. They have a ton of pre-recorded and live training available. And they also have, if they don't have a training that you're looking for, you can also request one-on-one training as well. And it's completely free of charge because this is funded by a grant through the SBA. And then subcontracting opportunities. Not all industries are a great match for federal contracting for prime opportunities. So maybe subcontracting would be a better avenue for your company. Um, most all of our federal contracts will have some type of small business subcontracting goal there. So a lot of primes are always looking for small businesses to subcontract with to meet their goals for their federal contract. So what does selling to the federal government, what does that look like? First, you need to research your next codes, and your next codes is a 6-digit industry code that will describe whatever product or service you plan to sell to the federal government. There are hundreds of codes. You would have a primary code as well as secondary codes. So whatever you do the bulk of your business in, your highest number of sales, that would be your primary code. And then you have other codes, secondary codes that you can add as well. So it just depends on, if you're a construction, you may have an additional 10 to 15 secondary codes. So you will have a construction code, and then you'll have carpentry. You will have you can do concrete, all kind of different. You can do doors. We have people who just do doors. So you will have that main um, next code for construction, and then you would have all those secondary codes as well. So you're not limited to just one next code. The next code will also let a company know whether or not you will be considered a small business. So your size standard is attached to the next code as well. So it's either going to be in dollars or number of employees to determine whether or not you would be considered a small business. Next, you need to register your company at sam.gov. So sam.gov will also provide you a UEI number as well as a cage code from the Defense Logistics Agency. You do not have to need these. You do not have to have these before you complete your SAM registration. Now, SAM registration is a requirement. It is not an option if you want to sell to the federal government. Your SAM registration is also going to include your financial banking information. So you want to be very careful with your login information. If you seek out someone to assist you with completing this registration, you want to be really careful with your login information. So after you register your company with SAM, that is basically all you actually have to do in order to be prepared to sell to the federal government. If you decide you don't want to do certification, you can stop right there and you can start looking for opportunities. Um, but and then you would also use SAM to also search for federal opportunities as well. A few years ago, they combined several websites, so you didn't have to go to so many places to participate in federal contracting. And so several websites were combined into one website. So you would also search for federal opportunities at sam.gov. You can also do market research at sam.gov as well. We will also suggest that you contact Apex Accelerators for assistance. This is another one of our resource partners, but they concentrate specifically in the sector of selling to the government. Apex Accelerators can assist you with selling to the government at any level, whether or not you want to sell to the local school districts, the city of Houston, or the state of Texas, as well as the federal government. So if you need assistance with selling to the government in general as a whole, you should contact Apex Accelerators and become a client. They are partially funded by the Department of Defense, so these are your tax dollars at work. So you should take advantage of that. You should also contact small business specialists with federal agencies. Their job is to be the go-between you as a small business and that federal agency to help you figure out how that federal agency would buy your product or service. So they'll be a great resource for you as well when you begin with federal contracting. And marketing. Marketing is going to be essential for federal contracting because you can literally be selling across to any one of the 50 states or U.S. territories. So marketing is going to be very important. It just depends on what your industry is. If you're in construction, in all likelihood, until you grow large enough, you will stay local. But if you're in IT services, you can literally sell your services anywhere. It would not matter what your location is. Capability statement is one of the most popular marketing tools in the last few years. If you don't have a capability statement, you should definitely create one. Apex Accelerators can help you with that. And we also have some information on SBA.gov for putting together your capability statement as well. And again, I would always suggest that you utilize some of the small business training that's available. Remember, that was Empower to Grow, and you can find that on sba.gov. Because the more training you take, the more educated you will be. when it comes to federal contracting. There are a lot of pitfalls with federal contracting. It is very different than any other than selling to the public sector. So you want to make sure that you get a lot of training and educate yourselves so you don't have so many pitfalls when you get into federal contracting. So I talked about this a little bit earlier. You can use sam.gov to look for contract opportunities, but you can also do market research, and you can also use it to contact small business specialists as well. So it is going to be a great resource for you. You can actually set up notifications for the type of work you're looking for, whatever industry you're working in. So you will automatically get notified when something comes along. You can also look for Industry Day. Industry Day is something that federal agencies do to let you know what they're looking for in the upcoming year, or if they're behind in a certain goal, like if they're behind with women-owned small business goal, then they may do an industry day specifically for the WOSB certification, looking for more women to come to enter the agency for contract opportunities. So industry day is a great way to market your business. COVID did something for us that was unexpected. It forced a lot of people to go virtual with this type of workshop or training. And so a lot of times you will see industry days. It may be in person in that state, but they will also have a virtual portion of it as well. So if you are not able to travel to another state to attend an industry day, you can also still participate virtually as well. So a lot of them have become hybrid as opposed to just being in person only. So resources for market research. We talked about SAM, but we also have usaspending.gov. The federal procurement data system, there is still some information there, but the bulk of that information is also in sam.gov as well. So you could actually just use sam.gov for that. You can print out reports. You can look up a previous awarded contract. You can see how much was awarded on that contract, who was awarded that contract, so you can look up their contact information. You will know how much the federal agency spent on that contract. You will know when that contract was signed and when it will also expire. So you'll be on the lookout when it's advertised again. Acquisitions.gov provides a federal agency procurement forecast. So if you're trying to plan for next year, you will look at the forecast to see what is NASA looking for in 2027 or 2028. What does DHS need in 2027? So you will have an idea of what the agencies are looking for, so you can start preparing your company if you want to bid on those type of opportunities. The Office of Small Business Programs, this is where you're going to find the small business specialist that can assist you with kind of bridging that gap between the agency and your company. And then the DoD has a directory of prime contractors. If you're looking for subcontracting opportunities, this directory would be a great place to start at, to start marketing your company to look for subcontracting opportunities. So we talked a little about APEC accelerators. They're located over in the Galleria area. I would suggest that you look them up on their webpage. There's a short application to fill out to become a client. Once they receive that, they do a class once a month. So you can come in and they will explain their services, how they can help you, and then they will assign a client, a counselor to you. And again, this is completely free of charge. So it's a great resource for your small business. So they can help you register your company, because most government agencies require some type of registration. They can help you research for opportunities, and they can help you also respond, putting together those proposals to make sure that you have a really strong proposal when you submit it for that opportunity. They do a lot of training. They have pre-recorded training as well as live training as well. So the SBA actually has 4 different certification programs. Today, we're going to be talking specifically about the 8A program. But if you want additional information about any of these other programs, you can always feel free to give me a call, and we can discuss that as well. So do you actually have to get certified to do business with the federal government? No, you do not. As I previously said, the only thing you have to do is complete your registration in sam.gov, and you can self-certify yourself as a small business. You do not actually have to participate in certifications, but since there are a lot of opportunities that are set aside,
What is this?
so since there are a lot of opportunities that are set aside for our different certification programs, it is a great way to look for opportunities. So recently we transitioned. Our previous certification system was certified.sba.gov. We have changed to certifications.sba.gov because we have combined all 4 of our programs into one website. So you don't have to go to multiple websites in order to complete the application. So the 8A program is a one-time certification program. It's very unique in this way. It lasts for 9 years. You need to be 51% or more majority owned by individual that is American citizen by birth or naturalization. You need to manage that business on a day-to-day basis. And we will also require you to be socially and economically disadvantaged as well. You need to be managing a business on a full-time basis, meaning that if you are currently employed by someone and receive a W-2, you would have to resign from that position before you could be approved for this program. We would like you to be in business and operating for 2 or more years, ideally. But if you have not been in business for 2 or more years, you can also request a waiver, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. You must demonstrate your potential for success. The application will ask you for some information about your prior awarded contracts. You must show good character. We will be doing a background check on you as well. You cannot currently be on parole or probation and be a part of the 8A program. And as I previously said, you cannot have outside employment, meaning if you get a W-2, if you currently have a business and you receive 1099s, that makes you a contractor, not an employee. So if you decide that, hey, I started my business a year ago, I know that I haven't been in business for 2 or more years, but I would like to request a waiver. They're going to be looking at your business management experience, your technical expertise, adequate capital, your past performance, as well as your ability to meet requirements in order to review it and determine whether or not they waive that 2-year rule. It's pretty rare that they waive it, but it does happen occasionally. So the net worth criteria, your personal net worth cannot exceed $850,000. Your personal assets cannot exceed $6.5 million, and your personal income cannot exceed $400,000 over a 3-year average. As part of your net worth, they're going to be removing your equity in your primary residence, as well as the equity in your business to give you adjusted net worth. So when you decide you want to apply, you want to make sure you have the capacity to deliver on contracts, you have sufficient cash flow, you have the capability, meaning you have some past performance in that industry. Can you demonstrate that past performance? Because the work that you did as an employee is not considered past performance. Your past performance is the work that you did as a part that resulted from the company that you currently run. And are you prepared to market your firm? It can be really difficult if you are a sole proprietor and you don't have any support staff. So you just want to make sure that you're prepared to market your company as well. So some steps to developing leads in the federal marketplace. You want to determine what agency actually purchases your product or service because you want to make sure you're marketing to the right agency. You want to figure out, how do they buy that product or service? Do they actually set aside awards for that? Who are your competitors? Who currently hosts the contract? That's part of the information I talked about with doing market research, because that will tell you who you're going to be competing against. Who has the contract? how much did they actually make on that contract? And then you want to see when that contract is set to be expired so you know when it's going to compete in the future. The unknown can create frustration and disappointment when you're looking at marketing to the federal government or just selling to the government in general. It is a huge machine that you're becoming a part of. And so you want to kind of figure out, put together some type of plan that you can follow and adjust it as needed. When something doesn't work out, then you adjust it and try something else. Our website, if you would like to sign up for SBA, we do an email once a week with everywhere that we are involved, workshops, networking opportunity, and training opportunities. You can go to sba.gov/TX/Houston to sign up for our newsletter as well. And we have a ton of training also on our website. We have a learning center. We have something called Lender Match to help you find lenders if you're looking for financing as well. My name is Ida Benson. I'm a business opportunity specialist, and this is my contact information if you have some questions after we finish here today. That is all I have today. Do we have any questions in the chat?
Doesn't look like it. Am I missing any questions? Yeah, it doesn't look like, Ida, not yet, that we have any questions for you, but really, really wonderful information, much beyond what we expected to learn about the 8A program. Just so many wonderful resources and services being offered by the SBA. And I really just want to reemphasize the importance of the Apex Accelerator, which is a really great tool if you're new to exploring doing business with the federal government, if you want guidance around what certifications to pursue. So again, Ida, thank you so much for that
Thank
information.
you.
Yeah, and if we don't have any questions for Ida, we will move on to Maya. So again, thank you to the SBA and to HMSDC for your great presentations. At this point, we want to take a few minutes to connect how the certifications and resources that have been discussed align with opportunities here in Harris County. Maya Thornton, our procurement director, will walk us through making those connections. Maya.
Thank you so much, Marsha, for that wonderful introduction. Good morning, everyone. Before we talk about engagement, I think it's important to outline what certifications are recognized by the county. See if you could move on to the next slide. That'd be great for me. Thank you. I do want to start by saying Harris County does not certify businesses. Certifications must come from the recognized organizations. But the good news is once you're certified, it helps us prioritize your business for opportunities. So there is a laundry list of certifications here. The great thing about it is you heard great information from Ida and Brandon. And so, yes, we do take a SBA 8 certification as well as HMSDC and MSDC certification. So when we talk about minority and women-owned business certifications, we do take certifications from the City of Houston. We have the Women Business Enterprise National Council. We've got the Women Business Enterprise Alliance, WEBA, which is local. We also accept DBE certifications from the Texas Unified Certification Program. This is a statewide program that provides a single standard certification for businesses. They will certify you for the M, the W, and then of course the DBE. And then lastly, like I said, the U.S. Small Business SBA 8 certification. Next slide, please. So the majority of our contracting opportunities flow through our online system. It's called UNA. And understanding how UNA work is going to be critical in making sure you don't miss opportunities with the county. So what I want you to do is think of UNA as your first line to get notified. If you're not registered in UNA or you're not coded correctly, and we'll talk about that shortly, you will definitely miss opportunities. So UNA used to be formerly Bonfire. And if you've done business with other like state or universities, they use something akin to Bonfire. They actually use Bonfire. One Bonfire system does not equal another, meaning if you're registered in like Fort Bend ISD's Bonfire, that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to transfer over to Harris County. So what I want you to do is register your company in our Bonfire. And there's a link there. And at the end of the presentation, we can definitely get you the PDF of these slides, so you'll have it. The next thing I want you to do is select the appropriate commodity codes. These codes define which opportunities you'll be alerted to, and accuracy for defining these codes is critical. I know when I talk to businesses, they always say, Maya, I can do everything. And I think that's great, right? But what I really want you to do is tailor that down. Ida mentioned how critical it was when you are trying to ascertain your 8A certification that you select a primary code and then you can select some subcodes. I'm going to ask that you do the same thing when you register on Bonfire or UNA. So what UNA does allow you to do is select a laundry list of codes. I don't want you to do that. I really want you to be intentional because I don't want you to get bombarded with notifications that don't pertain to your business. And then also, we use the UNA procurement system to search and source for your businesses oftentimes. So if we're using UNA and we're using other things to search and source for your business, we want to make sure when we send you opportunities, they're actually opportunities that you could bid on. And then lastly, we use UNA to submit bids and proposals online. So when you are seeking opportunities with the county, you will respond in UNA and you will receive notifications in UNA. Next slide. Another thing I want to talk about is procurement thresholds. Not all procurements are treated the same. How a purchase is advertised and how you engage really depends on the dollar amount. So Harris County procurement is structured by dollar thresholds. You have what's called formal procurements, which are $100,000 and above, and then you have informal, which are under 100K. This is a new change in our threshold. So the new change happened probably around 3 to 4 months ago. So this is different. So if you've done business before, the threshold used to be 50 for formal, and anything under 50 was informal. So when we talk about formal procurement, those procurements are advertised in the Houston Chronicle and most importantly, posted on UNA Procurement. This is again why you need to register in UNA so you can avail yourself to those opportunities. And again, vendors are notified based on your identified commodity codes at the time in which you register. For informal procurement, they're not advertised in the Houston Chronicle. Some opportunities are posted on UNA, but for those informal procurements, direct engagement with the department is critical. And not just engagement with the department. You've heard Brandon and you've heard Ida talking about engagement, ensuring that you are attending events, ensuring that you are attending those classes. Oftentimes we will reach out to our partners to say, hey, would you happen to have a vendor that does X? We're having a hard time finding them. So there's value in making sure that you're partnering and engaging with either one of these organizations or the laundry list of organizations that I identified earlier. Next slide. So I want to let you know that the Office of Commissioner Rodney Ellis is committed to increasing participation for small and diverse businesses. And our small business inclusion policy helps make that happen. OCRE adopted our Small Business Inclusion Plan August of 2025 to increase small business participation. Our policy promotes equitable participation, growth, and long-term success. It applies to all OCRE managed contracts, purchase order, and procurement activities, both competitive and non-competitive, both informal and non-informal, right? Non-formal. And so I want you to just understand how this works. So our department, when we look at different scopes of work, we make recommendations on unbundling those projects, meaning there's a larger projects. And what we're doing, we're looking to break it down to allow for small business participation. Additionally, which I think this is a great add-on, and I wish others could do it, for small purchases, our divisions are required to obtain at least 3 quotes from certified MWBEs. So we want you to make sure that your certifications are current, They're visible, and we want you to be in the pool when quotes are requested. And more importantly, guys, I want you to respond. So if we send you a quote request, even if you can't do it at the time, just say thank you for the opportunity. Keep me in mind next time I'm not able to facilitate your needs. Or simply respond to the quote as it's written. So please, please, please engage. Next slide. Another thing for engagement is that we don't just post opportunities. We actively connect vendors with our OCRE departments that need your services. And we like to consider creating just a direct path to success, right? And so this is how that engagement process works here. So we identify the department's needs. We generally have monthly department financial health meetings with all the departments here in the Office of Commissioner Rodney Ellis. From there, they can identify their needs, whether it's catering services, communication services, just a laundry list of needs, right? We align those needs with the vendor capabilities, meaning we will search and source for your particular needs. But they need to make sure they're in alignment. So we'll have a laundry list of what the department needs, and then we'll meet with you separately. And if we find there is a match and there is some synergy there, then we'll facilitate a 45-minute introduction. And really what this introduction is really allowing you to sit down face to face with our departments and provide viable solutions, right? Because that's what we're looking for you to do, provide viable solutions. So our anticipated needs or needs that are on the horizon for next fiscal year are uniforms, maintenance and repair operation supplies, public relations and communications, human resource award platforms, and of course our job ordering and on-call contracts. So I want you to realize, and not just with OCRE, but with any organization, that procurement is very cyclical. So I think it's important. I want to say Brandon and Ida identified this as well, as to really sit down and research your organization, know what they need, and see if you can match. So it also is a timing issue, right? So most contracts in the state space are 3 to 5 years. So if you're selling office supplies and we just awarded an office supply contract, we're not going to be looking for a new one probably to the next 3 to 4 years, right? So know your organization. That's just as important as knowing what type of certification you want for your business. So don't be discouraged if you contact us and say, hey, I'm looking to sell X widget. We may not be in the market for X widget at that time, but always be prepared. Next slide. So lastly, I have a call to action. What do you need to do, right? I want you, before you end your day, if you have not done so, please register in UNA, okay? Please register. I also want you to sit down and be intentional. And I want you to select the appropriate commodity codes that actually match your products and services. Please don't click it all. We'll know. And I'll have to call you, be like, no, go redo this. Understand the process. Understand what formal means. Understand what's informal. Formal, 100K plus, is publicly advertised. It's in UNA. Informal, some are posted, but really the meat is that direct department engagement, which is critical. And then respond promptly. When we reach out, follow up no matter what, whether you can fulfill our needs or just say, thank you, next time will be a better fit. And match your capabilities to our priorities. Where do you fit in? And pretty much, guys, the bottom line is I encourage you to be proactive, be responsive, and strategically align yourself so that you can maximize your chances of winning contracts. Thank you so much, and we definitely look forward to doing business with you in the future.
Great, thank you, Maya. Love that call to action. So do we have any questions for Maya? Again, lots of great information. You have lots of insight into how, through Maya's presentation, how Harris County does business, how our office does business. We, in the chat, I included a link to the Harris County opportunities that are available right now, as well as a link to the Office of Commissioner Rodney Ellis's Equity and Enterprise website, where there is a button that you can click on to pitch your business to us so we know what products and services you're offering. And as Maya described, we could actually engage with you directly and potentially connect you to opportunities that are very available amongst our various divisions. So do we have any? So it looks like we do have a question. What is UniPro? You're muted, Maya.
Thank you. Uniprocurement is formerly Bonfire. And what that is that's a platform where all purchasing, especially for informal purchases, take place. In order to get purchasing opportunities, you must register your business in Uniprocurement. It's formerly Bonfire. So if you're familiar with the term Bonfire, it's the same, pretty much the same system, new name, right? And so in order to receive opportunities from Harris County in the formal procurement space, you must register your business. You will receive the procurement opportunity as well as respond to the solicitations in UniPro. And then a great thing about UniPro as well, kind of akin to SAMS, if you look at past opportunities, you can see who's been awarded. Oftentimes they will sometimes put the contract there, the price. So the next time this opportunity avails itself, you can be a little bit more competitive.
Thank you, Maya. Do we have any other questions? It looks like all the information that was conveyed was clear and anticipated the questions that folks would have. Just continuing to check. I see that Renee is typing. I don't know if you're typing a question for us. I'm sorry?
Looks like someone has their hand raised.
Okay,
Natalie?
oh, all right, let's go ahead. If you have your hand raised, just go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Maya, for that clarification. I'm actually on the network platform, Una, and I believe it's because when I did register when I originated my business last year. But going in now, it prompted me, that's what I was asking, what's Una Pro, because it prompted me for some reason to upgrade a plan, like a current subscription. Do you know anything about that? I was just a little bit taken.
I don't. Now, oftentimes, Una will, I want to make sure I'm not muted. Oftentimes, there is a space in there where they want you to register or you can pay extra. It's like a
Okay.
subscription. Ignore that subscription. And so what that
Okay,
subscription
gotcha.
will avail you to other opportunities from other entities, but you're still not registered with that entity. They'll just take
I
your
see.
assigned commodity code and shop
Okay,
those invites to you. So if you want that,
I see.
you can definitely avail yourself to do so. If not, I would encourage you to skip that, register or update your registry. And then every year, guys, I would also encourage you to go in there and look at your profile. You can say, gosh, I'm not getting any opportunities, or the opportunities I'm getting are not the ones that speak to my business. Look at your profile, look at those commodity codes that you put in there. And again, be really intentional about the commodity codes that you select.
Perfect. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions, either in the chat or if you just want to come off mute and ask your question, please, you are invited to do so. Going once, going twice. Okay, so so we're gonna wrap up again. I really want to thank Brandon, Ida, and Maya. Just really wonderful information conveyed today. Lots of great tools and services that you can actually leverage. I want to thank you, business owners, entrepreneurs who joined us. As you continue to grow your business, please, we encourage you to leverage these resources. In the chat again, I have included our Equity and Enterprise webpage, which has information about resources that were discussed today. And I know that Brandon shared his contact information, so did Ida. So please, again, leverage their expertise and monitor the contracting opportunities that are available with Harris County through that link I provided you. I do want to actually just ask you to save the date, June 26th. We will be having a small and diverse business inclusion summit. Details are forthcoming, but this will be June 26th at 10 a.m. And thank you once again for joining us today. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. We'll make sure also that just a PDF copy of the presentation is shared with you all. Thank you again. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.